Hey everybody, I am excited to be welcoming a special guest here to The Gist today. Haley Stewart is with us, author of the book, The Grace of Enough. I'm excited to have you here today, Haley. Welcome to The Gist.
Thank you. So excited to be here.
So tell us about this book, The Grace of Enough. How did it come about? And let's start with the idea of throwaway culture. How do you define what that is?
So the subtitle of the book is Pursuing Less and Living More in a Throwaway Culture. And Pope Francis, in his encyclical Laudato Si, talks about how we're living in this throwaway culture that goes against the perspective of the gospel. So basically, it's viewing everything with a lens of consumerism, whether that's the resources of God's creation or even whether that's other people, because it's no accident that the throwaway culture is a culture of abortion and euthanasia as well. So even human beings, we're seeing them as disposable instead of made in the image of God. So it's really just the opposite of seeing the world through the lens of the gospel.
Right, and that's a beautiful concept and a very Catholic concept that I think we don't talk about enough. Now, in the book, you chronicle your family life making a major change. Can you share a little bit about that and how your family benefited from that?
So we were homeowners in Florida. My husband had a regular 9 to 5. I was working part-time. We were very, very busy, not happy with my husband's work situation and the way that we didn't have any time to pursue our family life. And so we sold our house and got rid of most of our belongings and moved halfway across the country to live in a teeny tiny 650 square foot apartment with no flushing toilets on a working farm. Insane. To do a year-long internship on the farm and kind of reboot our family life, figure out what direction we wanted to go in with our work life, and just simplify and try to really narrow down our mission as a family.
Wow. I mean, most people are like, what on earth? Are you kidding? I mean, that's crazy, right? It sounds crazy. And yet the way you chronicle it in the book, it's really beautiful, the way your family benefited from that. Can you share a little bit about the benefits of that lifestyle?
Sure. I think part of it was just by simplifying, we were able to be less distracted by all of our stuff and see what was really important. And also by pursuing this kind of radical pursuit of family life, we were able to slow down and be reminded of things like slowing down to prepare a meal and have friends over. You know, nothing revolutionary, but something that we've kind of lost as a culture, just slowing down, cooking a meal, sitting at the table and eating together. How can we participate in rebuilding our communities? How can we slow down and appreciate the beauty of God's creation? And how can that point us towards our pursuit of God? So just simple things like that helped us slow down and prioritize things that were of eternal value was, I think, those are the lessons we carried from our experience on the farm into our lives.
Yeah, that's beautiful. Now, some people listening are like, I'm not going to throw away my job and move across the country. And I really love my flushing toilet. But maybe there are some small ways that you could recommend that this Lent, if someone is in the throwaway culture, they're not liking that kind of consumerism that we're all exposed to every day and we're all involved in various levels. But are there some small ways you'd recommend that they kind of work their way out of that throwaway culture?
Yeah, I mean, I think starting out with looking at our possessions is a really good place to start. There's a lot of resources right now because minimalism is like the big buzzword.
Yeah, it's very trendy.
So there's lots of resources for you, but I think that it really does tie into a Catholic perspective when we say, hang on, what do I have versus what do I need? What can I give away to people who could use this? How can I simplify in my home? And then we're less distracted by our things. We're able to use that mental space for other things. So I think that's a great place to start. Mm-hmm. I also think deciding, hey, I'm going to slow down. Maybe each day of Lent, I'm going to stop and listen to a beautiful piece of sacred music. Or I'm going to stop and take a look at a beautiful piece of art and let that beauty point me back to God. Mm-hmm. I think is something that it doesn't really fit to our throwaway culture, because our throwaway culture is thinking about consuming and making money and all of these things. So just stopping and being still and appreciating beauty and letting that point us to our relationship with God, I think is a really key thing we could do during Lent.
Right. That's a great tip. How do you typically observe Lent as a family? How many kids do you have right now so people can know?
4.
Okay.
We have 4. So a couple of things that we do during Lent. One is for almsgiving. Something our kids really like to do is put together what we call blessing bags to give out when we see homeless people. And we live in Waco, Texas. There's a large homeless population. And so it's something that we see as a family often. And so my kids will help us put together bags of, granola bars and little bottles of water and soap and toothbrushes and different things that would be practically helpful. And then they also put in cards that say, Jesus loves you, or sometimes we put in plastic rosaries. And then when we see someone who says, I'm hungry, we have something to offer. And that is something that I think my kids really like doing as a family because it's something they can actually contribute to.
Right. Oh, that's a beautiful idea. I love that. And very practical. Everybody can do that today. So, Haley, before we have to go, where can people find out more about you and follow you online?
Sure. You can go to my blog, which is carrotsformichaelmas.com, and Michaelmas is spelled Michael, M-A-S, the Feast of St. Michael. Or I'm on Instagram and Twitter as @HaleyCarrots, Haley Carrots.
Thank you so much. We'll be looking you up there and following you online. Thank you so much, Haley. I'm glad you were able to make the time to spend with us here on The Gist today.
Thanks for having me.